All right, guys, guess what? So we have made it to the concierge coaching workshop pillar number 5, which is demand generation and how to get people to be interested in the offer that you want to make them. Like, how do you get them working with you? How do you get the eyeballs on your stuff? And especially now that we've got, like, there's just so much stuff out there that people are looking at and trying, and it's, how do you make yourself seen in this sea of everythingness, right? That's the challenge that we have right now. So in this module or this pillar, I'm going to show you the best way. This methodology is what I use for my private clients to do launches. Been doing this method for years. Even in my bricks and mortar business, this is the way that I did it. I would create demand, get people interested before I would sell. And that's something that's really different in today's world because most people are just trying to sell, 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 sell. And as you'll see during this presentation, I'm going to show you a better way to do this that is going to make you very likable as well. And it's going to just feel natural. It's going to feel good. It's not going to feel like you're just being like just that idiot who's just always trying to get money. I mean, that's not what business is about. Business is about helping people, helping each other. So I'm going to go through this and you're going to see some good stuff. First of all, I want to show you where we're at. So if you remember, you bought the Elite Action Concierge Coaching Blueprint Workshop at the beginning of the year. And let's see here, features. There we go. So that package, the Blueprint Concierge Coaching, has 6 pillars. All right. And I got a little bonus surprise for you at the end of today's presentation that I'm going to announce. So stick in there and listen to the end. All right, so we started off with, anchoring it into discovering how to find your pathway to the joyful entrepreneur, right? That perfect day blueprint. So make sure, like, everything that follows, everything that we're doing right now has to be anchored to that theme. Otherwise, why are we doing this, right? You want to wake up with joy, jump out of bed and go, yes, I get to have this day. This is like such a beautiful day. So that's what we want to make sure that you're doing. All right. Then we moved into unpacking your IP, your intellectual property. Like, how do you take stuff that you know how to do and make it so that it's tangible, because it's not like a physical product where you can go, okay, here it is, and I can demonstrate it. This is something that's up in your mind. So we went into that whole section of developing your keystone framework and unpacking your IP so that you can give people steps. Remember, we talked about RIA, results in advance. So what you're doing is you're saying, okay, like I do in my, at the beginning of these training sessions, I showed you the flight plan. Right? I showed you the flight plan of all the steps that we were going to take during the concierge coaching blueprint. And so that's basically what you're doing is you're pulling out, you're setting up all of the steps, right? All the phases, or as I call them here, pillars, and then breaking each of those pillars into further steps. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take, maybe a couple of them, and you're going to give that for free to people. You're going to teach them. You're going to show them some of your best stuff. And that's what's, that's the underlying foundation to attracting people that go, wow, I love this and I want to do more with you. And you're going to attract the right kind of people that are connected viscerally to your core beliefs, desires, goals, dreams, and everything. And when you're working with like-minded people like that, then it's not a challenge, right? It's fun being with other people that are just like you. Right. Okay. And then we moved into developing your unique, compelling offer with your underpinning big idea. And as a matter of fact, if you remember in last week's live coaching session, we talked about some methods and ways to enhance this, to make it better, to make it stronger. And then we talked about the Michael Hugg 6-plot Hollywood script structure to follow up with it and enhance it even more. So that's some cool stuff. Cool bonuses, right? I never even talked about doing that. I just, brought it out. And then in pillar 4, we did the accelerated selling and scale up marketing system, where I gave you, I don't know what it was, 3 or 4 or 5 different methods of how you can create your offer to pitch it to people to get them to invest with you and buy. And I gave you some tool sets that you can use to do that. So you could do a webinar. I gave you some tool sets for developing your webinar. You could do a VSL or a video sales letter, and I gave you some tools for doing that. You could do a long form sales letter like this one is, and I even gave you my template so you can just kind of replicate it and make it your own. All kinds of ways that you can do that, right? So if you look at what we've done so far in those first 4 pillars, is we've kind of started from the end and worked our way backwards, right? Because you got to have your offer, you got to know what you're going to sell, you got to have your intellectual property unpackaged into your keystone framework, and it's all got to be anchored into your beautiful perfect day soul print, right? And so now today what we're going to do is the demand generation phase, right? Phase 5. And in this phase, we're going to talk to you, or I'm going to teach you a framework to pre-suade people, right? So that you're not just collecting passive leads that sit on a list and never really do anything. So that's the key. All right, so let's get into it. All right, let's make this a bit bigger so you can see this. Matter of fact, we'll go full presentation mode. All right. Okay, you already saw that one. So marketing is dead, long live marketing, right? So I love this quote from Peter Drucker where he talks about the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous, which means like just, you shouldn't have to sell. You shouldn't have to really pitch hard. You shouldn't have to overcome objections and do all these creepy tactics that most sales kind of training people teach you how to do. That's not what it's all about, because if you've done your marketing well, if you've attracted the right people and it's all anchored into your set of core beliefs that's connected to theirs, and you're living out your perfect day soul print, you shouldn't have to sell, right? You shouldn't have to do it. So the role of marketing really is to send people into your sales process. You still have to have that sales process like I taught in the last pillar, but you want to send them into that process already pre-suaded, already connected to you, right? So they pretty much already know that they want to get it. They just want to know the details of what it's all about. And the goal of the sales process then is to make the sale while still maintaining that great positioning and goodwill that you developed with them during the marketing process. Pre-suasion efforts will have a much higher effect on your sales conversions than any other tactic or trick, sleazy sales tricks that you could ever look at, even combined. All right, so extraordinary gets attention, right? In a crowded marketplace, fitting in is a failure. It's too busy out there. You have to stand out. You have to be different, right? Now, don't just be different for different sake, though. So if you follow the masses, then you're going to get ordinary, what all the other ordinary people are getting, right? And so find distinctions that you don't normally see. Be different, stand out, get noticed, create your own demand with your own personal brand, okay? Create your own demand with your own personal brand. That's really key. Don't just be different for different sake, all right? The goal of marketing obviously is to make selling superfluous. It's also to overcome the status quo. So the status quo is what's everybody else doing out there. If everybody else is doing the same thing, which happens a lot because everybody copies each other, and you're coming along with the Me Too stuff, how are you even different? And not only that, but just like the BC, the caveman image shows here, everyone's too busy. So even if you are different, sometimes it's hard to stand out because people are too busy. They don't even have time to look at it because they're going, no, we got to keep on going, we got to keep on working, work, hustle, grind, right? So here's these guys trying to do more work because they got square wheels. If they would just slow down and listen, then they'd see that this guy would lessen the amount of workload that they would have, right? And that's my whole theme, right, is to lessen your workload, let you come into this stuff with ease and grace and not have to work your butt off. I mean, this stuff should come easily. This is this fallacy of having to work hard and hustle and grind and put in 17 hours a day is just ridiculous. Make life easy. If people stopped and listened, then they'd be able to see, like, this guy has some round wheels. Life would be so much easier. They'd be able to probably do 50 times the amount of work that they're doing with these square wheels. All right, most business owners don't market enough, right? Because the act of marketing really is giving goodness to people, sharing with them what you're doing and how you're doing it so that they can taste test it, basically. It's the appetizer scenario. And so most business owners, though, when they invest in some marketing, time, energy, maybe some cost of ads and that kind of thing, they want to go directly to the sale because they got to look at it and go, how, if I put this ad out there, or if I put this energy into this thing that I'm going to create for marketing, then I need to know that I'm getting money back right now, right away. Okay, so there's a certain percentage of people that you'll see in a future slide here where, yeah, maybe they are ready, but it's a lot better to do this goodness marketing, give people some good stuff, and then follow up with that crowd or follow up with the people who are interested in that. And you'll find your sales conversions will go way up. All right. So if you end up not doing that marketing piece, then you're overselling and under marketing, and you become the person or the business that everybody hates. People are busy. They don't have time to assess every business ad coming at them. So how do they know if you're the good guy or the bad guy, right? Nobody listens to you, even if you have something you can help, just like the cavemen there. So there's two basic approaches. You can chase demand, like the top two levels of Chet Holmes' ultimate sales machine pyramid here. But look, there's only like maximum 10, maybe as much as 15% of the people are in this area, which is people ready to purchase or open to buying, but they're but not looking, right? If they are in that zone, that's what everybody's chasing. Everyone's trying to get those people because they're the ones ready right now. And when everyone's beating each other over the head trying to get the same small market to buy their shit, that's when you become the person everyone hates. And we all know those marketers that just beat you over the head trying to get you to buy. It's like, are you my friend? Or are you an enemy? Because are you here to help me, or do you just want to take my money and run, right? So instead of doing that, you go for option number 2, which is create your own demand. You create demand in your marketplace by moving people up the pyramid. So what you're going to be doing is focusing on the people down here. There's a much, much larger audience in here. The thing is, yeah, it's going to take a little bit more work, a little bit more marketing, a little bit more, understanding and connecting as humans to move them up the pyramid so that they're ready to buy. And then, so if you're the person who's taking people down here and educating them and helping them out, moving them up into the top levels of this pyramid, then you are the person most likely that they will want to do business with because you're the one there helping them. And they're connecting to you based on your core beliefs and your foundational principles, right? So which one are you? Are you the guy chasing demand, or are you going to be the creator of demand? If you are chasing demand, then you're under marketing and overselling. You're forcing sales using these hardcore sales tactics. You attract the underbelly of customers because they're all looking for these quick one-hit wonder tactics. They're chasing the shiny object syndrome. And you're going to attract mainly disloyal refunders. They don't give a shit about their tribe or the results. They just want the money. They're quite often the hustle and grind type people. They are very proud of their working 15 to 18-hour days. They look like shit. They probably have lots of addiction habits and aren't really connected to their inner core self. They don't know who they are, let alone who their audience is. Demand is fickle, so they're always chasing it. They use nasty tricks to get customers. They work a lot for little results. Their sales are flat or declining. They're at the mercy of the market. Do you want to be that guy, right? Look at this lazy guy. Or do you want to create your own demand like Steve Jobs did? They care about the success of their customer. They understand deeply about their tribe's desires and beliefs. They demonstrate true empathy for their tribe's plight. They work smarter, not harder. They have consistent business growth. So maybe they don't have like a big jump and then all of a sudden a bunch of refunds and then they burn themselves out and then they have to do it all over again. They just have slow, steady, ascension in their sales. They never hunt for quick one-hit wonder tactics because they know that that's just energy sucking. They don't need to funnel hack anything. That's a notorious thing in my marketing world because they are innovators. They're not copy hackers. They build their own stuff. They create. They're never a slave to the market or to their business. They attract other innovative, creative, happy people. Their customers are evangelists of their tribe. So they tell other people, right? They can't resist but give referrals. Your story becomes their story and they love to share that. All right, most businesses are chasing the same customers with the same set of tools, using the same short-lived tactics, and everybody's just doing that hustle and grind, acting the same. So, but here's the thing, right? If you can show your audience this new, better way that helps them achieve their desires in a way that nobody else can, then they will follow you to the ends of the earth. Just like if you walk through the forest with a biology expert who understands all of the trees and the flora and the fauna, and you're walking through and it's a couple-hour tour and you've come out of that experience learning so much, you'll never walk through a forest the same way again because you're spotting and seeing all these things that you just learned about. It opens up your mind, right? It's like blossoming like the forest and the flora and the fauna does. That's what you want to do with your customers. And when you're doing that and you're creating your own demand, what you're doing then is you're not focusing on that top 10% that's already looking for a solution that most businesses focus on. You're focused on people in the 70% group, 70% of your audience. Either they know they have a problem but just haven't found the right solution for it yet, or maybe they're jaded because they have tried a few and they're just trying to figure out if you're going to be different for them. Or sometimes they don't know they have a problem at all. They know that the outcome isn't working out for them. They know that life isn't, they aren't living their best life ever, but they just don't know what the problem is. And so if you can help people identify their problem and show them a solution that will fix it and give them a little bit first, that allows them to naturally be attracted to you to see if you're the kind of person that they like. Otherwise, if you try to get the sale right away, sure, maybe you get the sale right away. Sometimes, very small percentage. But the ones who do, they come in, they make the purchase, they come in and they look and then they go, oh, this isn't what I wanted. This is the same thing as I've seen, 100 times before. So then they refund, right? So you don't want to have that. You want to have people naturally moving through and either filtering themselves out or filtering themselves in. And once they do, they'll stick around, right? So your job as a business owner is to write copy that speaks to them exactly where they are and bring them to where they want to get to, right? That's emotional type writing. It's a different style of writing. It's not, hey, I got this thing that's going to give you this benefit, so come buy it here for this much money, and I guarantee you'll get that success. That's not the way to do it. So, do you want to follow the ordinary crowd, like all these guys fishing in the same place? And probably not catching anything? Or do you want to forge your own way and go out into the deep blue ocean and catch some big swordfish? I think the answer is pretty obvious. So different commands attention, but the different that you're creating here has to have depth, right? You can't just create different like this Trump poster here at the urinals just because you want to shock people, right? It's got to have an emotional connection that, yes, wakes them up because it's different and it's emotional. And then you're following up with logic, which lets them go, oh, okay, now I see how it works. Yes, this is different, right? People are smart. They figured those things out. People aren't attracted to you. I talk about this all the time, right? People aren't attracted to you based on what you do or what you have for them. They're attracted to why you do it. All right, so do you know yourself well enough to be able to talk about that right at the core beliefs and values that form your identity? If you don't, then you need to do that perfect day blueprint and do some work, some inner work on what do I stand for? Who am I and what does it mean in my life? You got to be connected with your inner self to be able to talk emotionally with people and help them with the same issues that you have already solved. And I always like this thing by Stephen Pressfield, the book, The War of Art. If you haven't read it, go read it now, where he talks about this quote: most of us have two lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. Between the two stands resistance. So that's like we're wearing a mask. It's our persona that we wear out there in public because we think that's what we're supposed to do. But in actuality, what we're doing is we're not living our true self. So we're not happy, and we're showing a side of ourselves that people look at and go, I don't trust that, right? It doesn't look right. It looks fake because it is fake. So get connected with your inner self, understand what you stand for, and you'll be able to talk to people who are just like you, right? So you grab attention by connecting to their core beliefs as well. And the theory of motivation by Stephen Rice, you can look this up. There are 16 basic desires that this theory talks about, which are people's fundamental needs, values that drive and motivate them, right? Acceptance is a big one. It's huge. Curiosity, they want to gain knowledge, right? Eating, that's a basic natural one. So you can kind of go through those, but there's always an underlying desire behind our reasons for doing something. Most in most cases, we don't want to change. You don't want to do anything. So there's got to be a driving reason, and that driving reason is connected to our core belief. The problem is most of us are so not conscious of our inner self that we don't even know what that is or why we're doing it. So we subconsciously make decisions and take actions that don't give us the desired end result that we want. So your beliefs connect to your core desires, and your beliefs are anchored to your emotions, and our beliefs become our identities. So if you want to make a change, understand what your beliefs are and what you stand for that's driving you, that forms this identity. Is it a fake identity, a persona where you're wearing a mask, or is it your real true self? And if you can talk to your audience based on your real true self, like what's here and here, then you'll attract the people that go, yeah, hey, you know what? You're showing me this new way, right? You're walking me through the forest and showing me the flora and the fauna. So you're showing them all of the things that they didn't even know about themselves. And when you can speak to a person that hits them, inside of themselves, and you understand them better than they know themselves, and you can show them a new way, a better way, they're going to love you. They're going to be so loyal because you woke them up inside. All right, so changing a person's beliefs is far easier than the manhandling and cajoling and manipulating and overcoming all their objections to close them on the sale, which most people teach. I love this Dan Kennedy. I learned this in the Titans of Advertising Master class live that my friend Brian Kurtz, I was in his mastermind group for a year. And he put this event on, and Dan Kennedy said at this event that it takes extreme, extraordinary measures to compel people to act contrary to their beliefs, their own self-image, and their conditioned habitual behavior predominantly built as protective defenses against all harm, right? Our fight or flight, the amygdala in our brain, we're constantly scanning, going, okay, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this person? Why don't I trust them? So in order to get people to move, to change, because they don't want to change. Most people do not want to change unless there's a compelling reason to do so. And the way to get them to feel that compelling reason is to speak to their heart. And the only way to do that is to know yourself well enough that you understand your own beliefs and what you stand for. Most people's normal modus operandi is to do nothing, buy nothing, decide nothing, procrastinate on everything, and run from any kind of decisive behavior because it's built into our survival mechanism, right? So you got to overcome that survival mechanism that everyone has as a part of our nature. So what your prospect believes and values matters. So here's something, this was an ad from quite a long time ago, but it speaks directly to a person's identity. And that identity relates to belonging and self-esteem, which is a big factor. So anytime you can get something that triggers on the self-esteem and belonging, because we all want to be connected, it's also part of our survival. We want to be a part of a tribe so that we can survive. It's built into our nature from thousands of years ago, right? So David Ogilvy had this famous Rolls-Royce ad. It spoke directly to, the rich person's persona, their identity. It spoke right inside of them because they wanted to be able to show that they were a success. I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, but he wrote this ad and it spoke directly to them because the Rolls-Royce was such great quality that, back in the day, cars driving along the highway made a lot of noise. Right? So you couldn't even talk because they made so much noise. So at that time, if you had a Rolls Royce, he's saying basically the loudest thing that comes from the Rolls Royce is the electric clock ticking. Tick, tick, tick. We don't have that anymore. But at the time, it really resonated with people that wanted to show that they had made it in life, right? They had a good career, good life, good income level. It has attributes of being important, having pride, and having people revere you, put you up on a pedestal. It's high quality, money is not an issue, you're educated and smart. It was a sign, basically without telling people, it was a sign of success, which connected to their emotional need to belong, right? To have self-esteem, to have people look at them and go, wow, you're great. It's a basic core emotional feeling. So understanding people's desires based on their core beliefs is very, very strong way to start out your marketing. I'm not saying just carry that through all the way, because you still need the logic, but it's a good way to start because it builds up passion inside of people. So Tim Ferriss, when he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, he spoke to people's inner, desire. And that desire was they wanted to have time and dollar freedom. They didn't give a shit about outsourcing, which was, there's a lot of other books that were talked about outsourcing. Ho hum, they're like boring as hell, right? Nobody wanted to buy them. This guy sold a shit ton of these books. It's on my bookshelf over there. I read, actually, I think I've got 4 or 5 of his books there that I read after the 4-Hour Work Week. So nobody wanted outsourcing. Their core belief was based on the values and upbringing that the early bird gets the worm, the work hard to be respected, the hustle and grind. But he wanted to bring them out of that and go, there's a better way. You can outsource all this stuff and just work 4 hours a week. I don't think anyone ever did it, including him, but still. So he moved their belief to a new belief, to work less, to escape the normal grind, and get that time and dollar freedom that they really wanted. So are you selling your business by searching for people who already have that demand, or are you creating demand? Tim Ferriss obviously created new demand based on this. Right? The blue ocean strategy. Real growth comes from moving people to desire your solution by tapping into their existing belief and moving them to a new belief. Right? If you try to go too fast and jump to this new thing right away, then there's a disconnect for people. So you have to enter the conversation that's going on inside their head exactly where they are now, and then move them to this new thing. That's the way to do it inside of your marketing. So bring your market to desire your product or service by helping them value your solution. That's what you're doing, is that you're showing them this new way. You're walking them through the forest and showing them the flora and fauna and explaining to them all the nuances of what's going on there so that it opens their eyes to new things, right? You're slowly moving their belief through your marketing by helping them to show them this new thing, this better way, showing them that you understand what's going on inside them even better than they know themselves. So they'll start to value your solution by you helping them to develop these new set of beliefs that allow them to achieve their desires. And they desire your solution because of its unique, innovative way of accomplishing that. And that's where we talked about things around the big idea and the unique mechanism. So if you can have this new way, even if you're spinning it into something new, you could have something that is kind of the same as other things, but you spin something new on it, right? And if you can do that, then you're basically showing them how to do it by walking them through the forest, showing them results, because results trump everything. If you don't have results, then you need to go get what I call the anchor client. We talked about that in some of the past trainings. So you need an anchor client or a case study or something, even if it's a friend or yourself, where you can show that you've been able to get results based on this methodology, this unique methodology that you have, right? If you can do that and show them a little bit of this, they'll start to follow you, and that's a deposit into their loyalty bank account, which means that, the natural way of looking at you going, are you wearing a mask? Are you somebody I could trust? Putting a deposit into their loyalty bank account will bring down the defense mechanisms, right? And that's going to make selling superfluous. Let me grab a drink. So there's these things called logical levels of change within people, and you have to go through that, each of those logical levels. So environment, where am I? What am I doing in this environment? Behavior, what am I doing? What do I want to do? Capabilities, what skills do I have? What new skills do I need to move myself to new things? How do I have to change? And then on top of that is the beliefs and values, like what matters to me. Beliefs can be changed, right? Belief is just what we believe in. It doesn't mean that it's true. So if you talk to them in terms of where they currently are, what are they believing now, and describe, walk through the forest of whatever your topic is and show them this new way, that will allow them to shift their belief to this new way of doing things, right? And then identity, like who am I, and purpose is the highest level. Why am I here? So people love to resist change. We think it keeps us safe. It's just our amygdala, that ancient brain's way of keeping us safe, or it thinks it's keeping us safe. So to change people's thinking and acting in a way that's beneficial to you and to them, you must step them through these levels of belief. You can change a person's beliefs You can't really change their values. So start there, right? And that it will be the beginning of evolving a person's identity to something new. They don't know right now that they want to change their identity. All they know is what they believe in, what they stand for. And based on, just go, look at Facebook and look at all the comments. I love to look at people's comments, not because I want to enter into a debate, but I like to see the debates that are going on, because people, when they get this belief, they're so strongly embedded in that belief. Like, look at what's going on right now with the pandemic. There's all these people that think we should wear a mask, all these people who think we shouldn't wear a mask. And they both can back it up with what they think is substantial data that proves that their belief is true. But you look at both sides of the equation and they're both fighting for what they believe in. It's crazy. So what a person believes in isn't necessarily true or fact. It's just what they believe in for whatever reason. Okay? And you can move it if you have a compelling story and a compelling way to help people. All right. So what you will do is basically use the emotions table to figure out, okay, well, based on my beliefs, based on what I do to help people, where do I feel? Like, what is the predominant area that is the emotional trigger point that my audience has right now? And then, so then you're going to use those emotions, or that emotion, the primary emotions, to start writing emotional stories, or to create an emotional video that moves their belief from one level to another, or to something new. So their values basically are directly connected to the emotions, which this table outlines a few of them, the main ones anyway. So once you understand people's and your common beliefs and values, you pick an emotion from this table that relates to it. Now, it might be a couple of different ones. You can create different videos that target different emotions based on what you think it is. Then what we do is we put it out there and we test it to see which ones of those things are the best triggers. So for me, what I stand for, my beliefs and values, and how I support my tribe is, obviously, you guys know this by now, work smarter, not harder. I did the hustle and grind for many, many, many years. It took me a long time to realize it's just not the path. It's not the way to go. So my belief now is that there are times where we need to go slow in order to go fast. I'm not saying never go fast. You know me, I talk about results trump everything. So I like to go fast and big and hard on certain things. But the problem is that most people, most businesses just do the ready, fire, aim, right? They're out there going, and they're just going, oh, let's do this. No, let's do this. And they drive everyone, including themselves, crazy. Instead of saying intuitively, what do I stand for? What are my beliefs and values? What's my identity? Knowing yourself, knowing all those things lets you create this new world in that you can go into with ease and grace, and you don't have to hustle and grind. Once you know what that is, you're just letting your light shine, really, is what it is. So for me, it's understanding that. So go slow to be able to figure out what your perfect day soul print is. And then once you understand that and have that all defined, then you work on the one big thing at one time. So don't try to do 10 things, and because then you get into ready, fire, aim mode, and you start hustling, grinding, and you drive yourself crazy, and your light does not shine. So then when that happens, it looks like you're wearing the mask. Even if you think you're not, people look at you and they don't trust you, right? So make sure that you've done that first. Work on ourselves to build creative energy, improve our brains, our health, and the welfare of yourselves and all other people. Responsible and ethical business practices. I don't believe in being demand grabber. I don't believe in stealing somebody else's demand that they created. Like, that's basically what they're doing. If you create demand and in an audience so that they're willing to make an investment to change to this new thing, and somebody else comes in and goes, oh, I'm going to target you because you seem to be kind of in the same realm of business stuff that I sell, and they're basically trying to steal your customers because you're the one who's building things up. And so having responsible, ethical business practices is something I really, really stand for, have for many, many years. Is it fair to all? Will it build goodwill? Is it beneficial for all parties? Sign stand is right back there that I had from when I was a president with Rotary. I believe in that. I believe in empathy and compassion for my fellow entrepreneurs, for my fellow people. I want you to be tapped into yourself. I want you to be self-aware. I want you to let your light shine. And I want you to work on that so you have joy, right? Joy in the moment, every moment. That's what it's about. It's the journey, not the destination. Although the destination can be fun and it can be rewarding, if you're not having fun along the way, what the fuck is the point, right? There's just no point. Why are you living? So I like to surprise and delight clients with new things and extra stuff. Increase customer value, exponential strategic growth. So now we get into some of the growth factors, right? Once you know all of this stuff, increase our collective game, right? We're a part of the whole. So all boats rise with the tide. I want to help each other. So increasing our collective game and helping each other to get to a whole new level. That's really big for me. Building assets that help us all grow so that it's an asset that continues to flourish and provide for you. You're not doing these, one little trick hacks that give you something right now, but then you have to create a new one next month. An investor mindset. Like once you've got this asset going, then you can create more assets and it starts to compound. Big results. Results trump everything except for ethics. Go back to going back to the having good ethics is big for me. Big results is also big, but not without having those ethics. And give people a VIP velvet rope treatment. Make them feel good. We treat you royally. The way we treat clients and members becomes their story to tell friends about, and that creates a referral. So these are all the things I stand for. So I know what these are, and then I can map into those values those belief systems that people have about working hard and hustle and grinding and going and selling and overcoming objections. I can tap into that. I can empathize with it. I can have compassion that, that's what most people teach. So everyone thinks that's the way to do it. But so I can enter the conversation there and then move their belief to a new belief, which is slow down, tap into yourself, let your light shine, come into it with grace and ease, and things will still happen for you. Right? So this is how it works. For my tribe, my core emotions that I have for my tribe, I've kind of mapped out a few so that I can create content and give to them based on different emotional needs. So self-esteem is a very big one for my tribe. They want to be more appreciated. They want to be respected. They want to be heard and understood. They want to have prestige. No question. Guilt is also another one. Big one, right? They feel like they don't work hard enough, yet they feel like they work too hard. It's creating a cognitive dissonance. They don't even understand. They think they got to work harder, then they work harder and they're not happy. So they're like feeling like they work too hard. And it usually comes out within family and friends. It's like you don't have energy to give to them. You don't have energy to give to yourself. So how are you letting your light shine and attracting the right people? Then you show up in your marketing with that kind of, mask on, and then you don't look trustworthy is basically what it is. So if you've got that dichotomy that, it's creating friction, having these two things going on. So if I can tap into that and talk to them there where they are, I can make them feel better by showing them a new way, a better way, right? And affinity is also a very big one. It's a them and us, those ones that are hustle and grinders and the ones that are the airy-fairy, meditation freaks kind of thing. Well, I'm kind of like a happy medium in between. Having a need for the tribe, the struggle phase, especially of being an entrepreneur, being part of a social group and being tapped into that energy and belonging. These are all components of my tribes and my core emotions. So what I did was I created this little belief mapping table based on what they currently believe, what they stand for, and what they need to believe, where I need to start moving them to. So like the early bird gets the worm, hustle and grinders, the Gary Vee and Grant Cardone propaganda kind of thing. And what they stand for is hard work and respect. I mean, we all grew up that way, right? But now what they need to believe is that this is an old way of thinking. Right? The new way of thinking, biohackers talk about it all the time, says that we need to slow down and relax our mind to get into that creative flow, and that produces more in less time and makes you happier in the moment. So that's kind of some of the mapping that I'm doing, is entering that hustle and grind, hard work and respect. I understand that's how you feel because that's how we were taught. Let me show you a better way. And then being an entrepreneur is hard. School of Hard Knocks. People put that into their profile. What school did you go to? I went to the School of Hard Knocks. They wear it like a proud badge of honor. There's no easy way. It's if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. That's what they stand for. That's their current thinking. So for me, what I need to do is find the one thing and simplify. Stop complicating it. Get outside of your analytical head, where we tend to overthink to its death. It's unproductive time and energy. So we may be hustling, grinding, or we think we are, spending 16, 17, 18 hours a day, but most of it is just useless time. And it's not making you feel good. So instead of some complicated marketing funnel or sequence, just record a simple loyalty deposit type video when you target watchers to your webinar, and then simply in a simple and inexpensive method that easily deployed to get results. I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a little bit. Creativity and expertise comes from putting in the hours. That's what they believe. What they stand for is working long, hard hours. They identify with it, and they tell everyone how hard they work, right? They wear it like a badge of honor. So what they need to believe is that creativity and expertise truly come out of having a diverse outlook, which takes being present, right? It takes being connected to yourself, taking time to rejuvenate your mind and body, and allowing these ideas to naturally and intuitively come out gives you creative juice, and creativity or ideas start to have sex and they have lots of babies. So I talk about that a lot, right, in my training and teaching. Success comes from working long, hard hours. You must work hard to get what you want in life. That's an extrinsic material belief. It's not intrinsic to you. It's not who you are. It's what other people tell you you should be. So slow down and listen to your inner voice to understand your true intrinsic transformational desires and goals, right? Stay present and mindful. Set up these brain filters to make you aware of the true opportunities that fit with your new belief. They simply turn it on and watch how the world conspires to help you make it happen. So when I create my front end training stuff, it's all anchored in the perfect day soul print, right? I teach you how do you slow things down and still remain creative and tap into this creative energy so that you can let the world conspire to help you make it happen. All right, so now it's your turn. Spend a little time with that mapping table and think about your core beliefs and values. Write all that stuff down. You probably did some of this work already when you were doing the Perfect Day Blueprint module. Now it's time to do that with having where you stand and your beliefs and values, and correlate that to the audience that you want to attract, right? So this is the time to do that. So write down what you stand for and your identity. Write down what you think your audience stands for. Write down the core emotions based on that table that I showed you that you feel connects with that, right, as a primary thread, because you're going to use that primary emotion when you write or when you record a video. Fill out that beliefs mapping table so that you know this is the starting of creating some content to attract people. All right, so this whole pre-suasion thing, this is Robert Cialdini. Really, I mean, if you haven't read this, definitely read it. He talks about privileged moments that are identifiable points in time when a person is particularly receptive to your message. Well, guess when that happens? It's not when you're selling to them, right? When you're selling to them, you have a mask on, and they don't trust you. So if you come out of the gate starting with that, you're probably not going to get traction. So their end choice is often not the one that provides the most accurate or useful help. Their choices are usually irrational, right? It's based on their subconscious belief mechanism, right? They think that they believe something, so they think that's true, and their life is being programmed to happen based on that subconscious thing. People think that we all think that we think through our decisions logically and take action based on a logical thinking process. And we do think through things logically, but 99% of the time, the final decision to take an action has nothing to do with logic whatsoever. It has to do with our with our subconscious triggers that are based on emotions, usually traumatic emotions that were embedded from growing up. And that's the way that it happens. And it's proven scientifically because scientists have studied people who have had brain injury and lost the ability to have an intuitive, emotional decision-making process. And so they can think through things logically, and they can explain how they came to a decision. But then what happens is they're not able to take action. And the reason is that they're missing that from their brain. So it's a very important part, and it's proof that we all take action based on that intuitive part of our brain and our subconscious. So that's why we make irrational decisions. So if you can help pre-suade, then you're in a much better boat. What you're doing is you're taking them through the forest. That's what the pre-suasion is. I'm not saying do it unethically. I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying cheat. I'm not saying do any of that kind of stuff. I'm saying take them through a process that just builds a new belief to something that's better. It's a better world, right? I call that's pre-suasion rather than internet marketing speak still does call it the indoctrination, right? It's very clinical. So I looked up the definition. Indoctrination is the process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Not a nice way, right? Internet marketers suck. We ruin everything for the wrong reasons. So indoctrination has been done all wrong by my world, the IM world, the marketing world, because of return on ad spend and speed of profit. I don't believe it. I used to believe in that stuff too. I do not believe in it anymore. It's been elevated to higher than a relationship status. Loyalty and long-term customers that share a symbiotic relationship with you. So if you want to attract the right people, do it with a pre-suasion style. Indoctrination done the right way is the pre-suasion style, like Aristotle talked about the 3 levels here of persuasion, which is ethos or ethics and character, anchored to your beliefs, right? That's your non-fake mask. That's the real you. Ethics, character, what's here, right? If you can bring some of that out, pathos, which appeals to the empathy, show empathy because you understand how they feel at a core level, and logos, which is you're following up with your logical argument. You're showing them this new way that you have proof, you have results, right? So you're showing your character, your real character, not the mask one. You're having empathy for their plight, and then you're showing them this new way, and you've got a logical way of explaining why it's a new way and why it will work if they change their beliefs. All right. In order to do this, though, because it takes a while for that to sink in, is you got to have repetition, right? So you probably heard in the marketing speak, a lot of marketers will say it takes 7 touch points before 7 touch points with you or your brand before they'll actually take an action. It's probably even much more than that. So repetition, multimodality, showing up everywhere, you everywhere now, deliberately demonstrating and reinforcing your pre-suasion theme. So, right? So mine is work smarter, not harder, ease into it, show your light, be tapped into yourself, all that kind of stuff. So that's my theme. So if I can deliberately demonstrate and reinforce that theme through repetition and multimodality and sending my content out, I'm going to generate more demand in my marketplace. So, and then following up with a demonstration of ability, because results trump everything. Demonstrate empathy and relatability for your tribe, make fun of yourself, show your mistakes, go through that empathy exercise that we talked about earlier, and show them, not tell them, how you understand them. Right? Share stories that relate to this new belief structure. Use metaphors, because metaphors anchor the concept or the idea into their mind. And so later on, they're trying to recall or remember what they saw. If you use the metaphor, they're going to remember it much better. Right? Show associations with others in your tribe and demonstrate alignment of your values and beliefs congruent to theirs, and show them this new way with these new beliefs. This is the way to do it. So, one thing I've done for years is create videos that help with this pre-suasion thing. I feel videos, especially when your face is on them. If you don't feel like doing that, you can do a video like this where you do a screen capture. I much prefer the face because then people can see you. They can see that you're not wearing the fake mask. They can look at you and go, okay, I feel this person is authentic. So Pam Hendrickson was Tony, why can't I think of his name? Oh, man. Tony Robbins. Why couldn't I think of him? Anyway, Pam was Tony Robbins' VP of content. She's an expert herself at content, putting that out there. And she was my client. I helped her take the way that she develops content and shares it with her tribe. I took that and helped her multiply it. And the way we did it was we plucked out little pieces of her flight plan. right? She had this whole flight plan of how she does content marketing. So we picked out a couple of good ones, had some videos made, and I started creating ads for these videos. And then what I do is I create an audience of the people that are most engaged with those videos and then retarget them later to come to a webinar or a live stream or some upgraded content where you learn some in-depth teaching, and then you have a pitch or you have a sale to come and invest. And so what I found was that those things really worked, and I found some studies, some research studies that have been done by Nielsen's that back this up, right? Corroboration behind it. So this is me showing you a way to do this, and I'm showing you proof through results that I have done it, and I'm showing you background work that's been done, research work that's been done to show you that this stuff works, right? So what they found was that if even somebody watched 10 seconds, right? So cumulative impact on purchase intent. If they even watch 10 seconds of your video, they became 72% more likely to make a purchase with you. So this counts, right? It's big. So I like to do the video ads. It's a process I call prime and remind. So you're priming them by pre-suading and then reminding them later, reminding the ones that are most engaged with your videos to come back and upgrade and then potentially invest with you. So I like video and Facebook Lives because they're given priority in Facebook's algorithm. I'll show you guys in a bonus video in the next module, or not the next module, but in the next session, I'm going to give you a bonus video to show you how to create these ads. All right. Right now, all I want you to do is focus on what are you going to put into your little video. So video attracts attention because it's in the news feed. You can make it big so that if they're scrolling through on their phone, it's the only thing that they'll see. Right? It's very inexpensive brand recognition. I can show you how to do it for as little as $1 a day. And it's a great way to nurture people with those beliefs, right? Anchoring them and telling them the story of walking them through the forest. It's a great way to do it. So you combine video with upgraded content. That's a powerful combination where you can bring them from your video series into a webinar or Zoom live stream or workshop or whatever you want to get them to make an investment with you, right? There's 3 critical factors to doing this though. One is that you have to simplify your message, right? Info is being processed by our amygdala, which is where the emotions sit. It's sending a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which is the command center or the neocortex of the body. It filters incoming info very quickly by comparing it to other similar events that have happened in our past, right? Which is anchored to our beliefs and emotions. That's why I'm talking about it. This is core to our, evolutionary part of the brain. It's that small part of the brain that sits at the top of the spinal stem. So most of this info gets filtered away unless your system decides that it's something that needs a deeper look, right? Fight or flight response. So if you can keep it simple, then you'll be able to be you'll be in a much better position to move people's beliefs. So in the book by Oren Klaff, Pitch Anything, he talked about messages that are composed and sent by our young neocortex are received and processed by the other person's crocodile brain. So what we have a tendency to do when we're trying to teach is that we know our shit. We know in depth about our topic of whatever we do. So we have this tendency to want to teach too much. But their brain is they're accepting your information based on that old crocodile part, the amygdala. So they just want to scan and see, is this something that's useful, something that's, new and novel, something that's exciting? And that's why having the big idea anchored to a unique mechanism is key. So you want that to come out really quick. You can follow up with logic later. Like we're doing a logical kind of a training right now, but that's because you're already here, right? I attracted you through the perfect day blueprint or soul print mechanism, unique mechanism that had a big idea around it. It was simple. It was easy to understand. But later on, then we follow up with logic and go more in depth. Right? So that's the filtering system of the crocodile brain. It has a very short-sighted view of the world. Anything that is not a crisis, it tries to mark as spam and sends it away. Right? People are too busy. Just like those cavemen rolling their square wheels. Which, by the way, is a metaphor that I'm using to anchor an idea or a concept into your mind. So remember that. Think about that. All right. So a video framework for pre-suasion is, first of all, here's what you're going to do. Fill out your beliefs mapping table because everything relates back to that. Use each point to create one video. Our brain accepts that info in a simple area, so keep them very brief and simple. 2 to 5 minutes max. Use theme, story, metaphor as the structure if you can. Not saying you have to do this every single time, but theme, so basically you got a topic, you tell a bit of a story around that topic, and then you anchor it to a metaphor so that they'll remember it later, right? Like my caveman with the square wheels. No, we can't stop, we're too busy. Can't talk to you about round wheels. Anchors it into their mind so they remember it later. Very simple. The purpose of this is to persuade and position in a helpful way to get them to start believing in this new belief. All right? So your assignment is to use that belief mapping table. First of all, do the belief mapping table if you haven't already. Map that to the emotional table so you've got some common themes. And then use those 2 charts to outline 6 to 12 videos that are going to be 2 to 5 minutes each that you're going to record. I'm not asking you to record them. I'm just saying map out a few. Even if you just do 2 or 3 for now, that's fine. But I want you to have more as time goes on. So, and then because repetition, right? You everywhere now. Develop one main theme, which is the belief that you want to move them to, right? For me, it's work smarter, not harder, right? Ease into it. Let your light shine through. That's my theme. Pick your theme that you'll have for the video series, and that theme will come out in every single one of your videos, right? Anchor each video to that common theme. Use theme, story, metaphor structure if you can, and outline your very first video in detail. And I want you to record that first video, one video. Doesn't matter if it's shitty, doesn't matter if you're not sure about it, just get it done. Get it under your belt, and you're gonna feel a lot better once it's done. And then I want you to share it in the group or whatever, and then be ready to talk about it in the next coaching session, and I'll give you some feedback as to how to make it, how to improve it, or if it's great, then we're going to get you running on some ads. All right. So what you have to look forward to next is this bonus training. So in the bonus training, which I'll do in the next module, you're going to learn how to create video ads using Facebook. All right. And you get thousands of people. I'll show you how I get thousands of views. Doesn't mean that every one of those views is going to be your target audience. I'll show you a way to trigger only creating an audience of the ones who watch it most, who are most engaged with it. And then that way you're getting your direct core audience who's connected to your core values and beliefs that will probably likely upgrade to more content and maybe even invest with you later. Okay, and then you're going to learn how to create your very own audience of those people, and you learn how to send your new audience upgraded content, and then have them do the sales pitch. All right, so that you can start making some money, get that trickle coming in. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's session. So go through that, do your work. This is probably one of the most important modules that you can do, is to get that first video under your belt. Once you do, you're going to feel great. And once we create the first set of ads, you're going to start seeing how this stuff can really multiply for you. And you're going to start seeing that through comments. You're going to start seeing that through the number of views, and you're going to start to feel good, right? This is a new belief. So take your core stuff that's inside of here, let your light shine through, create a video or video series around that, and I'm going to show you how to create lots of demand for it. All right, guys. Ciao.